Last year I was renting a house in a small economically depressed, old mining town in Virginia. I lived alone. On one of the first warm nights of spring, I fell asleep in my living room on my recliner, but I unpleasantly awoke around 4 a.m. to the sound of my doorknob turning. I figured someone must have just had the wrong address or something, but the doorknob kept turning persistently. I didn't have a peephole or a window to see who was outside, so I just approached the door from the inside and yelled, "Hey, wrong place." Then the door started shaking violently and a hand began punching it. "Hey, seriously, get the hell off my property, wrong house." The man who was on the other side then growled at me and started making these weird and horrifying noises like a wild animal. I grabbed a knife from my kitchen drawer and called the police, and I waited inside for them to arrive. 2 officers showed up, but by the time they arrived, the person was gone. The cops did a sweep around the house and looked for him thoroughly, but there was nobody. They left, and the police told me to call again if something comes up. So I went on about my day, and by now it was around 5 o'clock in the morning. I didn't go back to sleep because I was just too anxious about the whole situation. Later that evening, when I got home from work, I was concerned that maybe someone broke in. Now that was nothing more than my anxiety talking, and I had no reason to believe that. But that's all I could think about all day at work, was that that same person was going to come back. Well, when I got home, everything seemed normal. No signs of anyone or a break-in or anything suspicious at all. Fast forward later into the night, around 9:30, 10 o'clock-ish. I was lying down on my couch reading one of my books, when all of a sudden, I heard a strange thud sound. It was very quick, but quite loud. It sounded like it came from inside, but I wasn't sure. I forgot about it, and I continued reading. Not very long after that, I heard the sound of someone talking, but it was muffled, and I couldn't make out a word they were saying. Where the hell is that coming from, I asked myself. Okay, now I knew I wasn't insane. I knew there was someone there. I started to panic, and I had a horrible feeling that that strange unknown person came back. I looked around, but the sound stopped completely. Then, out of nowhere, I heard this vicious scream that I have never heard anything like before. Imagine a man was screaming at the top of their lungs as loud as they possibly could, in the most demonic yet humanly way possible. Now my adrenaline was through the roof, practically in overdrive. And then, I had a sudden realization. Oh shit. The only thing that came to my mind was the crawl space. I wanted to call the police, but at the same time, I didn't want to end up looking stupid again. So I decided I was going to try and handle it myself for the time being. I walked outside of my back door and then went around the house, because it would have been much easier for me to enter the crawl space from outside rather than from inside. I had actually never seen the inside of the crawl space up until this moment. There was a guy who appeared to be sleeping or pretending to or something. Or maybe he was just on a crap ton of drugs, which, thinking back, I'm sure was the case. I managed to control my frustration and I didn't say a word to him. I called the police immediately and stepped out of the crawl space area. I waited around for them, and when they showed up, I showed them the man I was talking about. The cops dragged him out of there and sent him to the hospital to be checked out, and then to jail. This man had been practically living underneath my house for I don't even know how long. He had a sleeping bag down there, a lantern, and a bunch of food that he had stored away. I was horrified when I found this out, and I couldn't get a good night's sleep for weeks. How the hell did I not notice he was down there all this time?